these experiments at home.
Try these experiments at home.
And I promise.
And I promise.
To finish all my veggies.
To finish all my veggies. Monica.
Veggies are awesome. For real.
You got a few of them. All right, with that out of the way, I think we're ready. You guys ready to get started?
And what if we told you that we have some awesome experiments with air, fire, and explosions?
Yeah, I like that. Cool. Well, what's the matter? We love to help people figure out science mysteries. In fact, I've got an email submission from somebody just recently, and he said, hey, what's the matter? I was recently on vacation in Italy when I saw a volcano shoot out these huge smoke rings. I'd never seen that before from a volcano, and I was wondering what was going on. Was the volcano getting ready to erupt, or was it some sign of strange alien activity? Signed, Martian Man 42. Well, I don't know about aliens, but I think I do know what might have been going on with that volcano. And in order to test this out, we've got a perfect experiment, but to pull it off, we need a few volunteers. So who would like to help us out with this experiment? Oh, we've got a few hands.
Corey up, let's get Corey up there.
Let's see, one right over here, and
Corey, I'm not raising my hand, this is recording.
Perfect, perfect.
What's your name? Kendra? Hi, Kendra.
And what's your name? Pardon? Dane. Welcome, Dane. Dane, you're going to help Monica and Kendra over here. Now, this may look like an ordinary garbage can, but this is not. This is actually something that we like to call our vortex cannon. Now, don't worry, it doesn't shoot out cannonballs or anything like that. In fact, our cannon shoots out is simple air. Now, we've added some fog to our cannon, so you can actually see the shape and the flow of that air as it's coming out towards you. It's cool. Guys, what shape is it forming? What shape is that? Yeah, it's round, it's circular, it's like a ring. Well, in science, we actually have a name for this. We call these vortex rings. Now, as that air is coming out, as those rings are coming out, it pushes on the edge of our cannon here. And that air actually bends back and it creates a nice little spiral. It spins. And you can see that on the screen over here. That's exactly what that air is doing. It makes a nice, stable ring-like shape. In fact, there is a volcano in Italy called Mount Etna that is famous for producing perfectly shaped vortex rings. And scientists are not even sure how. But that's not all. In nature, we find these vortex rings all the time. Porpoises, beluga whales, dolphins playing in the water can produce these vortex rings out of their mouths. And you right now, every beat that your heart takes, you're creating a small vortex ring in your bloodstream. It's awesome. They're everywhere. But not as awesome as our volunteers. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, Kendra and Dave. Well done. You guys can come on down. Perfect. Lots of fog in the air now. I think we can safely say that this is science fact. No aliens involved in this mystery.
Great. Next we have a video question. Hey, what's the matter? I found this video on YouTube, but I can't tell if it's real. From Mammoth Band 12,000. Let's take a look and see what we can figure out what's going on here.
Whoa.
What?
That is weird.
That is one steel conundrum. What could be crushing that steel drum? Could it be that the air pressure around us is strong enough to crush it? It seems. Let's test it out. Let's test out the air pressure by using this thing over here we call the Magdeburg sphere. So Kelly is going to use a vacuum pump and suck the air out from in between those two halves. So the only thing that will be holding that sphere together is the air around us. Now we don't really feel the air around us usually because our bodies have evolved so the pressure inside matches the pressure in the atmosphere. But all of the particles in the air around us, all those particles of gas, have mass and they're pushing down on us at this very moment. And at sea level, it's about 1 kilogram for every square centimeter. So imagine holding a box of sugar like this on the tip of your pinky, or tip of a finger. That's how much pressure is on us right now. Now usually we don't feel all this because our bodies have evolved, so we don't feel it. But let's test out how strong that air pressure is. Let's see if we can pull these two halves apart.
3, 2, 1. Come on, Monica.
I think we're gonna need help. Do you want to help us?
We're not strong enough.
All right.
We need some help. All right, who's going to help us out with this? Let's see. We've got 1. We've got 2 right over here. 3 and 4. Come on up. Yeah.
I know.
Grab the side. Grab the side. for your...
Nathan? All right.
Perfect.
Come on over. What is your
Why
name?
don't you jump on that side?
Me? I'm Monique. Hi, Nathan. And hi. And Lisa. All right.
What's your names? Matthew and Corin. Nice to meet you guys. All right, here we go. So we've got Team Human. Actually, let's just move back a little bit.
Yeah, come back, come back.
We've got Team Human versus Team Air Pressure. Here we go.
All right.
3,
Ready,
2,
set,
go.
Pull.
Come on, you guys can do it. Come on. We can pull it apart. We're
Yeah,
stronger
we
than
can do
air.
This is really tough.
Come on, one more time. Cheers on, cheers on. We can do it. All right. Okay, let's stop.
I don't know. That air pressure is really strong.
Even though we couldn't do it, I think we should give a round of applause to our volunteers here. Well done. You guys put your backs into it. Awesome job. Take a bow.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
So actually, by not pulling apart those two hemispheres, our volunteers have helped us demonstrate how strong the air pressure around us is. Now, don't feel bad about this. This experiment was first conducted in 1654 in Magdeburg, Germany, by the mayor, who was also a keen scientist. And at that time, even 30 horses couldn't pull apart these two hemispheres. Cool, so it's not about strength, but if we remember, the only thing holding this together is the air around us, because we've emptied the air from inside out. So how do we separate the two hemispheres? You know what, neat actually, so even though you can see the rope isn't holding it together. All that we've done is taken the air out. So what do you think will happen if we let the air back in? Can you see it? If you listen carefully, can you hear that hissing sound if you're close? That's the sound of the air filling up. And by that, it's able to open without any pulling or pushing. So that's pretty neat. And just a little note too that if you felt your ears pop when you're somewhere high, like an airplane where the air pressure is thinner, that's your own body trying to equalize the pressure.
Cool. So I think we've just proven that air can be really strong. In fact, it can be stronger than a lot of us. But what about that question? What about that video that we saw? Could air actually be responsible for crushing that oil drum? Well, to confirm this one way or another, we've actually got to try to replicate those results here on stage. I don't have an oil drum, but what I do have is this water bottle over here set up to our vacuum pump, and if our theory is correct, if we can just suck out all the air and crush it, it should do the same thing here. So, let's give it a try. We've got our water bottle, we're going to suck all the air out in 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Alright, it works! Nice! But that's not that impressive. You can crush a water bottle with your hands. I found a video that actually shows that this can happen on an even massive scale, just to show you what air pressure can really do. So let's check that out. You are going to be amazed. This train tanker car. Air pressure, same thing we did up here, is doing that. It's crazy. All right, we got to look at it from a different angle, just to show you that this is real. That's awesome.
It's pretty amazing. The air pressure around us is really strong enough to crush these giant drums that are made from steel and other metals. So those videos were all true videos.
Absolutely. Oh, we promised you guys an explosion. Are you guys ready for your first explosion? Are you sure? I don't know.
Are you sure?
I'm ready. You ready?
Did you see that?
Did you guys see an explosion? No, I didn't see one either. I think
We'll have to try making one on
we better
stage.
make one on stage, not just the sound of it. Which actually leads into our next question perfectly. This one comes from a girl named Action Girl 83. She said, I just love action movies, but I'm always skeptical when I see the main characters lighting a bunch of propane or gasoline on fire, to cause an explosion and save the day. Could this really happen though? Or is it just a bunch of Hollywood special effects? Well, I think we can actually test this out and figure out whether these things can actually cause explosions up here on stage. And in order to do that, we need to introduce you to our flame tube.
Alright, so for our flame tube demonstration, we're going to be using propane fuel, just like the question asked. Same kind of fuel you might have around your house for your barbecue. So I'm allowing the propane to enter from the end of the tube over here. It's mixing with the oxygen and other elements in the tube and making its way down to where Kelly is.
Yeah, now as that propane rushes down, you can see I've got a flame here, I've got a propane igniter. We're gonna see what happens when that propane hits my flame. Get ready. Let's see if we can cause an explosion. Go. Woo!
Whoa.
That was pretty cool. What'd you think? Was that awesome?
Yeah, that was really cool. Can you make that sound?
Yeah, what sound did it make?
Very nice. So what was happening was the propane was moving down towards this end of the tube because this is where the highest propane concentration was, the most amount of propane. And as that was happening, the air was rushing in behind it, causing that whooshing sound. Do you want to see it again?
All right. I knew they'd want to see it again. There we go.
What color was the flame of our propane? Have you seen different colored flames before? Orange, green, right? It all depends on the kind of fuel and the energy that's been released.
All right, Monica, you ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. You guys ready? All right, get ready. Here it comes. Oh yeah, there we go. Woo, that was a good one. Nice. Let's hear it for our flame shoot.
So that was really neat, but was it an explosion?
Yeah, you guys are absolutely right. That technically was an explosion. In order to get an explosion, we actually need to take the fuel and contain it in a small amount of space. Our flame tube here is open on one side. But what does that mean for our question, for propane, like in the movies when they explode things? Well, it is actually very possible. And just like this canister says on the front, if you contain it in a small enough space, you can cause an explosion. So it is definitely possible. But what about the second part of our question? What about gasoline? Like, it makes me think of in those action movies where the hero's jumping out of a car, just as it's about to burst into flames. And for those of you who are maybe not old enough, this is exactly what I mean. Could that actually happen in real life? Well, let's test it out. We're not going to be using gasoline. In fact, we are going to be using an even more flammable liquid called ethanol. And you can see that Monica is pouring it into our blast chamber, our water cooler of science right now. So we've got our fuel for our combustion right here, our combustion experiment. But there's something else that we need. In fact, there's 3 ingredients that we need for combustion. First is our fuel. The second is oxygen. We need to mix that fuel, that ethanol, with the oxygen, the air around it. You can see that's what Monica is doing right now by spinning the water cooler. Now the third and final ingredient of combustion, you need an ignition source. You need a flame, you need some heat. For our flame tube, we used a propane igniter. But for this experiment, all we need is a simple household match. And hopefully, we can get combustion and maybe even explosion. You guys are safe. I'm going to get to safety.
Leave me
All right, Monica, I'm ready.
All right, let's see.
Whoa! Woo, look at it go. It's still going. Oh my goodness. Awesome. What you guys think? Was that cool? That was pretty neat. But was it an explosion? Still wasn't an explosion. So what does that mean for our movie myth? Is it actually a myth? Well, if you take a look at this, just like our propane, if you put enough ethanol and you contain it in a small enough space, you can actually still cause an explosion. That's what happened here. Don't worry, we didn't do this. You guys are in safe hands. This is somebody else.
All right, those were great questions. Keep them coming. Let us know if you have any questions at the end of the show as well. But for now, we're going to move on to the next segment of our demonstration, where we're going to showcase some seemingly ordinary items in spectacular, maybe even slightly dangerous ways. Starting with this balloon. What do you think we filled it with? Helium is a great guess. But since we have a really short supply of helium on our planet and we need it for lots of important things, including MRI machines, is there another option? Okay, so if we look at the periodic table, we can see that on the periodic table we can see that helium is right at the top, which is why it's would be a great idea, pretty light. But it's also on the left-hand side, sorry, the right-hand side, meaning it's very non-reactive, it's very inert. But on the left side, there are the very reactive elements, and at the top we have, someone said it before, but hydrogen, right?
Monica, you fill this with helium though, right?
Sure.
Okay, good.
But in case of any loud sounds, you should be wearing some ear protection, Kelly, and the rest of us we're going to put our hands in front of our ears, like we have mammoth ears, and let's see what happens when Kelly takes the flame and ignites the the elements inside our balloon.
All right, here we go. Perfectly safe helium balloon in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Monica! That wasn't helium, you tricked me!
Gotcha! But that was awesome, wasn't it? So as the flame popped the balloon, the hydrogen inside mixed with the oxygen, and that mixture was expanding so fast it created a shockwave, meaning we just saw an explosion. You got it! Finally, an explosion here on stage. Alright, now the really neat thing about hydrogen as well is that it releases 3 times more energy than natural gas, and the only product that's sending into the atmosphere aside from that heat is water vapor. So a lot better for our environment.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. We've got another item to test. We've tried to combust a gas, we've tried to combust a liquid, but now it's time to combust a solid. This is actually a solid that you probably got at home. It's in your cupboards. It's the basis for all kinds of delicious things like muffins and cake and bread. What do you think we're going to try? Flour, yeah! We are going to try to combust flour here on stage. Now, I've got our fuel for combustion. I've got our flour here. I've got our ignition source right here. And let's get it lit up. Here we go. All right, Monica, you better get to safety. Here we go. You guys are safe. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It didn't really do it. Kind of smells like when I try to bake, but it didn't do anything. It didn't combust. What's going on? It certainly didn't explode like I was hoping it might. What's going on? Well, let's take a look at our combustion equation. Let's think about our 3 ingredients for combustion. We need our fuel. We've got that. We need our ignition source, but what are we missing? Oxygen, you're right, yeah. Oh, and with our flour so packed down like this, we don't have a lot of room for oxygen to get in there. So, in order for us to try and combust this for real, we've got to come up with a way to mix a lot more oxygen in with our flour. And so we've actually done that with an experiment that we like to call our dragon's breath. With these plastic tubes here, we've mixed some flour inside, and there's plenty of room for oxygen to get in there. So we are going to get our Bunsen burner lit, and we're going to try this out. Hold on. We'll get it lit. Woo, there we go. I'll try this at home.
Let's put the flour away.
Perfect. All right, now for this, guys, we are going to need a 5-second countdown on our mark. When we're ready. Hold on, here we go. Ready, Monica?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Pretty awesome, eh? What do you think of our dragons of Earth? Woo! Even household flour can be combusted. And this is actually very important because in flour mills where they grind up and make flour, they've got to be very careful about how much flour gets up in the air. And in bakeries too, it could cause an explosion. Pretty neat.
Alright, so next we're going to test our 3rd item. And you've had some great reactions to all our combustion reactions, but it's time for a chemical reaction. So we're going to be showcasing a very exciting, clear, odorless liquid. What do you think it could be? Ooh, water is a great guess. Now, what is the formula for water? H2O, right on. So this is H2O2. Sounds similar, but very, very different, not safe to drink at all. Now, this is hydrogen peroxide, and it's actually reacting at this very moment.
Wait, what? Monica, are you sure? I don't see anything going on inside of here.
That's because it's happening at the molecular level. And what's happening, we can take a look at the equation. And what's happening is that the hydrogen peroxide is breaking down into water, the H2O, and the O, the oxygen. Now, can we see that oxygen being released?
I don't see anything.
we've got a great way to show you in a really spectacular way, but we do need the help of a volunteer.
All right, we need somebody to help us out. A mad scientist for the day. Let's see. Yes, young lady right over there. Come on up. Perfect. Now we are going to get you some safety equipment for this experiment.
Safety first.
Yeah. Well, what's your name?